Hi, students! Isang mapagpalang araw. Good day, everyone. So, this is our Module 2. So, today, i-discuss natin yung recap ng Module 1 and, of course, the continuation of Module 1, which is the Module 2. So, during the last recorded video, nabanggit natin doon yung Article 3, Bill of Rights. So, sa Section 1, sinasabi dito na right to life, liberty, and property. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. If you could remember that section, or if you could remember that topic during discussion of our Module 1. So aside from that, I would like to inform everyone regarding our midterm exam, no, for the legal aspects and tourism and hospitality. You heard it right. Yes po, meron po tayong exam, and the coverage of exam, of course, is the Module 1 and this Module 2. Okay? So, yeah, let's go back to the Section 1. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. So, everyone is entitled to equal protection, of course, under the law. And according to the Section 3, right to privacy and inadmissibility of illegally obtained evidence, privacy of communication and correspondence, and protected except by law or lawful court order or when public safety or order requires it under the law. So kung naaalala nyo yung part wherein sinabi ko sa inyo na, for example, if you are illegally obtained, like um, videos or audio recorded um, tape, no? And then illegally you obtain that in a cases that hindi nyo siya pinaalam or in a cases that kinuha nyo siya ng walang nakakaalam or hindi alam ng mga taong involved na nandoon na nagsasalita or nasa video. So illegally obtained evidence or violating privacy rights or due process is inadmissible in any legal proceeding. So like for example, if someone is taking video and then dun sa video na yun yung magiging evidence ninyo. Tapos sinasabi doon na, pinatay ko si ganito or nagnakaw ako sa hotel ni ganito. So unfortunately, there are things that they need to consider if the court will allow you no to use that specific video. So under section 4, sinasabi dito that freedom of speech and assembly no law shall limit. So freedom of speech, expression, or press. The right to peaceably assemble and petition the government for grievances also included for the section 4 under the Article 3 Bill of Rights. We also have here section 6. So for the section 6, we have here liberty of abode and right to travel. The freedom to choose one's residence and change it cannot be restricted except by lawful court order. For example, you have or existing travel ban, you are not allowed to go outside the Philippines. Like for example, you are blacklisted in that specific country. So in that case, of course, invoke no yung right mo to travel. So the right to travel can only be restricted for national security, public safety, public health, as of course provided by law. We also have here Section 8. So ano ba yung sinasabi ng Section 8? When we say Section 8 under Article 3 Bill of Rights, no, under Section 8, this is right to form associations, yung pinag-uusapan natin last time regarding unions, no? People have the right to form unions, associations, or let's say societies, whether in the public or private sector, as long as their purpose is, of course, legal. As long as their purpose is legal. We also have here Section 10. Sinasabi naman ng Section 10 is non-impairment of contracts. No law may impair the obligations of contracts, meaning existing legal agreements must be respected, especially kung may mga contracts tayo which is signed and of course notarized, diba? Okay. So for the continuation of our lesson for Module 2, we have here the national economy and patrimony. No? Ito yung national economy and patrimony, sinasabi dito that or siguro you're wondering, no, why it is important for tourism. Because students, some constitutional provisions regulate who can invest and how much foreigners can own in business in the Philippines. So for example, dito sa Pilipinas, no, nakapag-asawa kayo ng AFAM, and then ikaw ay isang Filipino. So, pag magtatayo kayo ng business, 'di ba, papasok dito yung national economy and patrimony, the law, no? It says that some constitutional provision nagre-regulate dito sino ba pwedeng mag-invest. Magkano ba yung pwedeng i-invest ng mga foreigners, no? Dito sa Philippines, including those related to tourism, travel, hospitality, pwedeng hotels, transport, resorts, etc. So yun yung susunod na ating topic, no? Dito sa Module 2. So, kanina nabanggit ko yung Section 10, which is sinasabi dito that nationalism of or nationalizations or nationalization of certain investment, Congress may reserve specific areas of investment for Filipino or corporation that are at least 60% Filipino-owned. So, this protect kasi the national economic interest. Isipin ninyo ha, lahat ng mga hotel dito sa Philippines is owned by foreigners, 100%. 'Di ba? So sila na yung makikinabang, sila na yung may ownership doon. So unfortunately, no, kung iisipin natin, sila yung hindi Pilipino, pero sila yung may negosyo dito, sila yung mas maraming kita, sila yung mas nakikinabang sa bansang Pilipinas. That is the reason why we have here Section 10 because this protects national economic interests, no? Particularly yung mga industries natin considered vital to national identity and sovereignty. So, implication for tourism, of course, foreign businesses wanting to invest in tourism may need Filipino partners to meet ownership requirements. Kaya ang ginagawa ng mga foreigners, mostly nag-aasawa sila ng mga Filipino for them, no, to own percentage doon sa business or let's say na-allow sila to acquire business dito sa Pilipinas. But of course, it's not or never na mangyayari na 100% owned by a specific individual na foreigner. So, kasi sinasabi dito sa Section 10, no, na nationalization of certain investment Congress may reserve a specific area of investment for Filipino or pwedeng corporation na dapat at least 60% Filipino-owned. Okay, yun naman yung kahalagahan ng pinag-uusapan natin ngayon. So, we also have Section 11. Yung Section 11 naman, paano naging relevant ito sa tourism and hospitality? Yung Section 11, sinasabi dito na public utility franchises, only Filipino citizen or Filipino-owned company can be granted franchises to operate public utilities like transportation, water, electricity. So ito yung mostly na basic needs ng tao. Remember, no? Pag sinabi nating public utility franchises, no? Pilipino lamang or Filipino citizen or Filipino-owned company lamang ang grant na magkaroon ng ganitong mga businesses or mag-franchise ng mga public utilities or to operate public utilities like for example transportation, water, and electricity. And franchises no cannot be exclusive for more than 50 years. So for example, if sasabihin ko, ako na ang magpapatakbo ng panel ko, that is one example of public utility, 'di ba? O, ako nang magmamay-ari ng panel ko ha, bibilihin ko na yon. So, ang contract ko with the government is, let's say, 60 years. Sa tingin ba ninyo is pwede yon? Of course not, no? Magiging valid lang yung contract or yung ownership ko for the meantime or yung pagpa-franchise ko ng panel ko in the cases that the franchise or the agreement, no, ay hindi lalagpas sa 50 years. Pangalawa, kailangan na Filipino citizen and or Filipino-owned companies ang representation, no, ng magpa-franchise doon sa panel ko, for example. Okay? So, yun naman yung sinasabi ng Section 11. No franchise, certificate, or any other form of authorization of the operation of the public utility shall be granted except under the laws of the Philippines or to corporation or associations organized under the laws of the Philippines or at least centum of whose company or capital is owned by such citizen that shall or nor shall such franchise certificate or authorization be exclusive in character for a longer period than 50 years. We also have here Section 14. Okay? Ang Section 14 naman, sinasabi dito is the sustained development of reservoir of national talents consisting of Filipino scientists, entrepreneurs, professionals, managers, high-level technical manpower, and skilled workers and craftsmen in all fields shall be promoted by the state. So, promotion of Filipino talent, the government must promote a pool of Filipino professionals practicing a profession in the Philippines is restricted to Filipino citizen. Implication, anong implication nito sa tourism? Certain tourism-related professions like for example, kasama dito yung tour guiding, engineering, legal services are not open to foreign individuals unless especially or specifically permitted. Okay? So, one of the problem with regards to Section 14 is the foreign investment negative list. So itong list na to can identify yung industry partially or fully closed to foreign investor because it helps protect yung Filipino ownership and control over key sectors. If you could imagine a one barangay which is mostly owned or 100% owned by the foreigners. And then, yung Filipino, yun yung kanilang utusan, yun yung kanilang empleyado, 'di ba? Maraming ganyan sa Manila, 'di ba? May isang street or isang lugar doon na parang hindi na siya sa Pilipinas. And then makikita ninyo yung Filipino, yun yung sinisweldohan dahil ang ginawa ng Filipino, ibinenta yung kanyang building, no? Tapos naubos yung pera. So, pinapatakbo na ito ng isang foreign national. So, dapat nasisilip yung mga ganon because napakahalaga, no, na protektahan ng Filipino ownership and control over key sectors here in the Philippines because of course we are the Filipino. Okay? So, let's move forward to law on obligation and contracts. Okay? Or yung tinatawag nating oblicon. Um, Hindi ako magkakaila, but during my college days, I hate this topic or this is during my time in college or our time, kung sino man dyan. Ano yan, separate subject. So, yung legal aspects is separate subject and obligation in contracts is also separate subject that is equivalent to 3 units. So, syempre, hindi ka naman papasa or hindi ka naman gagraduate if hindi mo siya ipapasa, 'di ba? So, hindi ko masyadong gusto itong subject na to because honestly, legal aspects and obligation in contracts is quite difficult to understand, 'di ba? Mostly ano siya, pang attorney, mga ganyan. So, syempre, pag sinabi nating law on obligation in contract, no, bakit ba siya importante sa tourism and hospitality industry? This is very important. No? Doon pa lang sa obligation. Ano obligasyon mo? Obligasyon mong mag-aral, obligasyon mong gastusin yung pera ng inyong magulang sa tama, 'di ba? Obligasyon ninyong pag binigyan kayo ng pera at meron kayong babayaran, obligasyon nyo itong bayaran, 'di ba? Pag sinabing may field trip kayo, for example, and then your parents will give you something or let's say 3,000 pesos, your obligation is to pay for your obligation, 'di ba? Your obligation is to pay your obligation. Your obligation is to pay yung field trip for example, okay? So, why important or why important in tourism and hospitality business? Because anyone running a tourism and of course hospitality business will enter into contracts. Okay? At napakahalaga students na ngayon pa lang you practice black and white. Okay? Kahit sa kaibigan yan. Like for example, if someone will ask you, pwede ba akong pa-GCash and then bayaran ko na lang siguro mamaya or bukas, something like that. 'Di ba? Black and white, no? Ang ginagawa natin dyan para ma-hold natin yung person to pay for her or his obligation is to make a or to write a contract. Okay? Or you write on your notebook, that is also valid. No need to notarize or no need to go to attorney just to make one. You can make your own contract. Like for example, Naling Dulay, no, borrow 1,000 pesos to Alma Orteza, for example. Tapos, I acknowledge that I borrow 1,000 pesos and will pay on August 1, 2025. O, di nag-sign na ako, nag-sign na rin siya. And that is a very simple example of contract students, 'di ba? So, pwede nyo pa rin namang ipanotaryo, pwede yan kahit nasa anong papel. Pero syempre, with regards to the formality, 'di ba, we need to put it on, ano naman, formal letter. So, ayun, 'di ba? Bakit siya mahalaga? Because anyone running a tourism or hospitality business will enter in contracts like for example, supplier deals, booking, employment. Knowing obligation and liabilities is essential to avoid legal issue. Okay? So, according to the article 1156, okay, may nakalagay dito, obligation. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng obligation? What is an obligation? O ano obligasyon mo? Obligasyon mo maging maayos na anak. Sa anong paraan? Mag-aral ng mabuti, bibigay ang lahat sa'yo. May allowance, no? May baon, may suporta, bibilihan ng damit, ng uniform, ng project, and so on and so forth. That is your obligation. Okay? Pag sinabi nating obligation, no, in law on obligation in contracts, okay? An obligation is an legal or is a legal duty. Okay? Ito ay isang legal duty. Legal duty to what? Legal duty to give, legal duty to do, and legal duty not to do. Okay? For example, in our industry, no, obligation is legal duty to give. For example, to provide a hotel room. Okay? That is our obligation. To do, for example, is an obligation is a legal duty to do. For example, to serve food, no? Or for room service, to provide something for them, no, to provide them service, to give. And then, of course, we also have an obligation, is a legal duty to not to do. Okay? Your obligation, for example, in a hotel that after 10 p.m., no, avoid making noise after that hours. So, during that time, you are not allowed to shout, you are not allowed to make a noise. Okay? So, an obligation is a legal duty to give, to do, and of course, not to do. Okay? An obligation is a legal duty, however created, and violation of which may become the basis of an action of law. Okay. So, we also have sources of liability. Okay? Or for damages of a party and an obligation are as follows. So, sources of liability and obligation, when party fails to properly fulfill an obligation. No, pag sinabi natin liability, or you are liable. Liable ka dyan kasi 'di ba? Huwag mong sabihin kayong dalawa ay bigla na lang nagkagustuhan at iniwan niyo ako at ikaw ay third party. Huwag mong sabihin wala kang alam kasi ikaw ay may liability doon sa nangyaring situation na hiniwalayan niya ako or naging problem namin kasi ikaw ay involved. Meron kang liability. Why? Because partly, no, hindi naging maganda or hindi properly na-fulfill yung obligation mong mahalin mo siya, for example, something like that. 'Di ba? So, when we say liability and obligation naman, no? Ito yung pagkakataon na partly hindi mo siya nagawa, partly fails to properly fulfill an obligation. They may be held liable for damages, no? Meron tayong dalawang common causes kasi. Okay? Pag sinabi natin, again, liability and obligation, party fails to properly fulfill an obligation. Hindi mo siya nagawa. Hindi siya nangyari. Okay? So, they may be held liable for damages. Minsan yan, naririnig natin, emotional damage, yun yung ginawa mo, nasaktan ako, no? You are liable kung bakit ako nagka-depression kasi nagkaroon ka ng iba. So, dapat lang na magbayad ka ng damage sa akin, no? So, meron kang liability doon sa nangyari. Hindi dapat 'to mangyayari sa akin. Hindi dapat ako magkakaroon ng depression. Hindi dapat ako broken hearted, emotional damage, and so on and so forth. So, sinasabi dito, students, no, na may dalawang common causes. Okay? Yung liability. So, meron tayong tinatawag na fraud or dolo incidente. Okay? Dolo incidente or fraud. Okay? Pag sinabi nating fraud, it refers to deception or dishonest behavior that occurs while fulfilling an obligation. For example, sabihin sa'yo, no? Um, sa contracts tayo. Sabihin sa'yo, magbabayad ako sa July 12, okay, ng lahat ng inutang ko, no? So, unfortunately, okay, there is deception or dishonest behavior during um, that time because hindi siya nangyari. Okay? But, students, when we say fraud, no, it is not about tricking someone to enter the contract, but about dishonesty during the performance of the obligation. Nagbabayad naman siya eh, 'di ba? O sabihin na natin, yung inutang niyang 20 pesos. Okay? 3 months to pay. 20 pesos, 3 months to pay. Nung first month, nagbayad. Second month, nagbayad. Nung last pay, nung third month, unfortunately, hindi na siya nagbayad. 'Di ba? Remember, when we say fraud, hindi ito yung pagtitrick ng tao, no, na, oh sige, sige, mag-contract tayo, tapos bigla na lang siyang nawala. Okay? Hindi naman yun yung fraud na sinasabi dito sa obligation in contract. Ang sinasabi dito, pag sinabing fraud, no, hindi ito yung pagtitrick ng someone para magkaroon ng contract or makuha niya yung pera, for example. But it's all about dishonesty. No? Dishonesty kailan? Dishonesty during the performance of the obligation. Ginagawa eh. No? Nagbabayad naman. Pero, hindi niya ito nabayaran ng buo. Okay? So, another example. A travel agency agrees to provide a 5-star hotel. Okay? A travel agency agrees to provide a 5-star hotel. So, let's say, si Kopong-Kopong, no, nag-book siya sa travel agency, and then si travel agency, pinangakuan siya, okay, Kopong-Kopong, I agree that I will provide a 5-star hotel stay, no? But the travel agency books the guest in a 1-star hostel or bed and breakfast, no? Instead, knowing it is not what was promised, tinuloy pa rin nila, binigyan pa rin sila ng ibang hotel, which is hindi yon yung naipangako nung una, no? This is fraud during the performance of the contract. Okay? So, yun yung tinatawag nating fraud in na contract. Nag-provide pa rin, meron pa rin silang tinulugan, but unfortunately, partially, hindi totoo na sa 5-star hotel siya. Ang ginawa is, binook siya sa isang 1-star hotel. Okay? Ang effect nito, students, the guilty party can be sued for damages, and courts may award compensation to the other party. So let's say, for example, you pay for 50,000 for 5-star hotel stay. Unfortunately, the travel agency provided a bed and breakfast, which is actually cheaper than the 5-star hotel. So the court or you as a guilty party can be sued, no, ng bumili or nagbayad ng 50,000 for damages. So you have the right, no, to sue that travel agency and get compensation award to the other party. Okay. We also have another source of liability. Okay? So, kanina meron tayong dolo insidente. Ngayon naman meron tayong negligence or yung tinatawag na culpa contractual. Anong ibig sabihin ng culpa contractual? Ang culpa contractual, students, no, or sinasabi nating negligence, ito yung failure to exercise the proper care or diligence required under a contract. Okay? Again, negligence here is called culpa contractual. Ibig sabihin, failure to exercise, no, the proper care or diligence required under the contract. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Hindi po ito intentional like fraud. Pag fraud kasi, 'di ba, intentional, hindi siya nagbigay ng 5-star hotel. Instead, binook niya sa mas murang hotel or accommodation, no? But pag sinabi nating negligence, no? It is not intentional like fraud, but it's about carelessness or laziness in doing one's duty. Okay? Ang kaibahan naman nito is lack of diligence or carefulness. Or minsan, katamaran na lang in doing one's duty. Example, no? A hotel fails to fix a broken stairway despite many complaints. Dami, ano ba to, sira-sira, hindi niya ba to ayusin, ganyan-ganyan. And a guest gets injured. The hotel may be held liable for negligence under the service contract. For example, naglagay ka pa ng isang guest sa isang kwarto. And then, unfortunately, sabi nung last na nag-check-in doon, ma'am, naku, babagsak na yung, nito, yung ceiling. Okay? Baka, pwede nyo nang ayusin yan at sa pagbalik man namin ay maayos na. Ayos na. Diba? Or pwede nyo i-block muna, baka may masaktan. Parang ganyan. So, unfortunately, hindi pa rin nakinig yung management. Ang ginawa ng management is nagpa-check-in ulit. Unfortunately, bumagsak sa ulo ng mga nag-check-in yung ceiling. So, may mga nasaktan. The hotel may be held liable for negligence under the service contract. Okay? Tinatamad, hindi nagawa. Okay? careless, wala siyang pakialam. So, ang effect nito, the party at fault must be pay damages, no? Because they did not act with due diligence expected in their business. Okay? So, let's move on to Article 1157. Obligation arises from law, contracts, quasi-contracts, acts or omissions, punishable by law, and quasi-deli. No? So, yung sources of obligation under Article 1157, no? Pag sinabi nating law, dito pumapasok yung labor code, tax laws, pag contracts naman, mostly ito yung agreements. So, quasi-contracts, pag-uusapan natin later, but I will give you overview, no, or a brief meaning about quasi-contract. Ito yung acts done voluntarily but lawfully. Crime or acts punishable by law, yung quasi-delict naman damages for or damages caused by negligence. Example, yung legal liabilities and tourism natin, yung fraud, misleading clients about room availability. Papacheck-in kayo, wala naman palang available. 'Di ba? Ang tawag natin dyan is fraud, sinadya. Sinadya nilang lokohin yung isang client or isang guest. Yung negligence naman is hotel not securing guest safety. Faulty yung stairs, hindi nagawan ng paraan. Contract. Pag sinabi natin contract, meeting of minds, a mutual agreement where one party agrees to render service or deliver goods and other agrees to pay or provide something in return. No, meeting of minds, contract. Kasi dalawa kayo nag-agree, 'di ba? So mutual agreement. So yung quasi contract naman, meron tayong tinatawag na solutio indebiti, negotiorum gestio, culpa aquiliana, no? So later we will talk about that. There are only two sources of obligation, no? Number one is law and contracts. Two main sources of obligation, although Article 1157 of the Civil Code of the Philippines now lists 5 sources of obligation, they are often grouped into two main categories lang, which is number one is law. Yung law, no, obligations that come directly from laws or are imposed by legal provision, whether or not there is a formal agreement between parties. Again, under ng law, which is one of the sources of obligation, no, come directly from laws. Yung mga laws natin noon na naipasa na meron ngayon, na nag-exist pa rin, no, are imposed by legal provision, whether or not there is a formal agreement between parties. So, under the law, students, meron tayong tinatawag na quasi-contracts. Okay? The best example for quasi-contracts is solutio indebiti. Pag sinabi natin solutio indebiti, mostly, please take note of this one, payment made by mistake. Okay? We also have crimes, krimen, theft, physical injury. You must pay damages. Diba? We also have quasi-delict. So, negligence without a contract like hitting someone while driving carelessly. Negligence without a contract. Wala naman kayong pinag-usapan, di ba, na pag mapatay mo siya, babayaran mo siya. Pag nasagasan mo siya, babayaran mo siya ng damage. Quasi-delict. They are not created by mutual agreement but are enforced because the law says so. We also have contracts, no? Obligation that arise when two or more people voluntarily agree to something. Example, tourists book a hotel room. The hotel must provide a room and the guest must pay. This agreement creates a contractual obligation. Parang pagbebenta yan, no? Bibigyan mo siya ng cellphone, papalitan niya ng pera. Si guest nag-book ng hotel, the hotel must provide room and the guest must pay. This agreement creates a contractual obligation. No? Why group into two? Bakit na-group siya into two? Quasi-contracts, crimes, and quasi-delict are not negotiated between parties. Instead, they are automatically enforced by law, so they fall under obligation from law. Kaya sila naging dalawa. Kaya naging dalawa yung sources ng obligation. Although law pag sinabi nating law, madami pa siyang mga salik, no? Like for example, yung quasi contracts, sorry. Like for example, yeah, quasi-contracts, crimes, quasi-delicts, and so on and so on, so forth. Huwag kayong mag-alala because we will talk about that ng mas mabuti doon sa susunod na ating slide, which is this slide. Okay? So, what is contract? Kontrata, o. Diba? Sige, magkaroon tayo ng kontrata. Mamahalin mo ako ng 10 taon. Mamahalin din kita ng 10 taon. Pwede ng 10 taon, goodbye na. No? Kontrata natin yon. But here in the Philippines, ang marriage walang expiration. Okay? So pumirma kayo sa kontrata or yung tinatawag na marriage certificate, it certifies that kayo ay mag-asawa, but unfortunately, wala nang expiration. Okay? So, ano ba yung sinasabi ng contract? Pag sinabi natin contract, meaning um, meeting of minds between two or more person. So, pwede kang involved dito ay 2, 3, 5, no? And when one agrees to give something or do a service for the another. Okay, so again, contract is a meeting of minds between two or more person where one agrees, no, to give something or do a service for the other. So, yung key characteristic nito, students, wag ninyong kakalimutan. Ang contract is mutual agreement. Dapat both parties ay agree. Both parties consent ay meron. Hindi pwedeng isa lang ang nagde-decide. 'Di ba? Yung for example, today is July 12. Okay? So, utang ako kay ganito and then babayaran ko sa ganito. So, dalawa kami nag-agree na uutang ako at siya naman ay nag-agree na babayaran ko siya. At syempre, nag-agree siya na papautangin ako. Okay, so mutual agreement. There is a specific obligation. Again, there is a specific obligation. Ito yung pinag-uusapan natin kanina. Ano yon? Ano yung specific obligation? Specific obligation to do, not to do, or give something. It is legally binding once both parties agree. Example, a guest books a hotel room. The hotel agrees to provide the room in service. The guest agrees to pay. No? This is a contract because both parties voluntarily agree to the terms. So, aside from that, we also have quasi-contract. Okay, quasi-contract. Quasi-contract. I will not forget this one because during my college days, I remember sa St. Louis University sa Bakaken, muupo ako doon sa sa labas, sa MAFAG. Tapos nagme-memorize ako nito kasi during our class, papatayuin ka, bubulahin yung mga papers ninyo, yung index card, and then magkakaroon ng recitation. Ganyan. So for example, if someone will ask you or your professor will ask you what is quasi-contract. So you need to give the definition and aside from that give example. So I will not forget this one. So an obligation created by law. When we say quasi-contract, no? Not by agreement to prevent unfair benefit or unjust enrichment. Even without a formal agreement, the law treats the situation as if the contract exists to protect fairness, no? Key characteristic ng agreement or meeting of minds. Hindi kailangan mag-agree ng 2 tao or maraming tao para magawa yung isang kontrata. Okay? Because sa quasi-contract, it involves lawful, voluntary, and unilateral act. No? Imposed no by law to protect justice or fairness. So pag quasi-contract, wala nang meeting of minds, no agreement. Because ang tinitignan dito, dapat pareho silang may karapatan. Dapat equal treatment for both parties or for both groups. No? So dito papasok yung 2 types of quasi-contract. Meron ditong solutio indemnity. Pag sinabi nating solutio indebiti, ito ay payment by mistake. Someone pays another by mistake and the receiver must return it. Like for example, ito yung nagiging discussion ngayon, 'di ba? Mali ako ng pag-send sa GCash number ni Poncio Pilato. Mali yung dulo ng number. Okay? Na-sendan ko siya ng 1 million through GCash. Okay? Payment by mistake. Someone pays another by mistake and the receiver must return it. Solutio indebiti. For example, another example, no? Accidentally, again, na-transfer mo 5,000 pesos to the wrong person bank account. That person has the legal duty to return it even without a contract. Okay? Yun yung best example natin doon. Same goes with GCash, PayMaya, and so on and so forth. Another example is sabihin na natin hindi online transfer sa tao, 'di ba? Nagkamali ka ng binayaran, naibigay ko kasi kay ganito naibigay ko kasi kay Bebang yung aking bayad ay kay Bebong pala babayaran. So that person, no, has a legal duty to return it even without contract. So we also have negosyo room gesture, no? Ito naman is a management of another business. A person manages someone else's business or property without consent, but for the owner's benefit. For example, a neighbor, no, sees your store left open while you are away and closes it to protect your goods. 'Di ba? Nakabukas yung store mo. Unfortunately, you forgot to lock the door. 'Di ba? So nakauwi na yung may-ari ng store. So ang ginawa ni um Juan, 'di ba, is for him to protect the store, clinose niya ito, kinandado niya ito. You did not ask them, but the law recognized their act as helpful, and you may have an obligation or reimbursement of costs as a result. For example, nakita mo nasusunog and you make something about it para hindi matuloy yung sunog. Negosyo room gesture which takes place when a person without the consent of the owner assumes the management of an abandonment business. Tumulong ka lang and parang in a way na tinulungan mo or you do something about it and the law recognize it. No? So, for example, natutulog or yung anak mo, 'di ba? Naiwan mo sa sasakyan, natutulog, tapos biglang namatay yung sasakyan, so hindi na siya makahinga, something like that. So that person decided, no, na gumawa ng paraan. And for example, nag-cost ito ng pera kasi that person needs to buy something para lang mabuksan yung sasakyan or to hire someone para lang mabuksan yung sasakyan, for example. So, wala man lang kayong contract, no, negosyo room gesture, but you managed to do something about it, and the law recognize, no, that act as helpful, and you may have an reimbursement or have an obligation, like for example, reimbursement of costs as a result. So, quasi delicit, no, or culpa aquiliana. So, ano yung sinasabi ng culpa aquiliana? Ito kasi, pag sinabi natin quasi-delic, bakit delicit yung nakalagay dito? Sorry. This is spelled as Delta Echo Lima India Charlie Tango. Wala siyang I. Okay? So, itong quasi-delic is a wrongful act or omission. negligence or fault by one person that causes harm or damage to another, even without contract between them. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Quasi-delict, ito daw yung wrongful act or omission by one person that causes harm or damage to another, even without a contract between them. So it is also called culpa acquiriniana. This is a source of obligation because the person who caused the damage may be required by law to compensate the injury party. Okay? This is a source of obligation because the person who caused the damage may be required by law to compensate the injury party. Meron kasi itong mga elements. Pag sinabi natin quasi-delict, there is negligence or fault. Number one. Number two, there is no existing contract between the parties. Okay? Example ng quasi-delict. A hotel guest sleeps and gets injured because the lobby floor was wet and had no warning sign. The guest did not sign a waiver or have any contract with the janitor who caused the wet floor, but the janitor's negligence caused harm to the guest. Diba? Nadulas yung hotel guest. Yung guest, hindi naman siya nag-sign ng any waiver na pag ako ay nadulas dito, wala kayong babayaran sa akin kahit piso. 'Di ba? Wala ring pinapirma si janitor na pag ikaw ay nadulas dyan at minap ko yan, wala akong babayaran sa'yo o wala kang makukuha sa akin. No? Yon naman yung sinasabi ng quasi-delict. Hindi mo kailangan magkaroon ng contract. Okay? Hindi mo kailangan magkaroon ng kahit ano. The time na nag-cause ito ng damage, or sorry, ng negligence or fraud sa isang tao, no, yun ay pasok sa quasi-delict. No? There is a damage or injury done and then there is a negligence or fault and there is no existing contract between the parties, pasok yon as quasi-delict. Okay? So, even without a contract, the hotel employer can be held liable under the quasi-delict. Okay? Yes, wala namang contract na whatever happens, no, during the time that I finish mop or I finish putting something, no, in the floor, walang nagsasabi na pag nadulas ka dyan at mabagok ulo mo, hindi ako magbabayad ng kahit na magkano. But under the quasi-delict students, no, even without a contract, the hotel or the employer can be held liable under quasi-delict. The primary classification of obligation under Civil Code of the Philippines, no? Again, the primary classifications of obligation under the Civil Code of the Philippines, obligation are classified in various ways. No? We have here pure and conditional obligation under Article 1179 to 1192. Pure and conditional obligation. Ano yung sinasabi dito? Pure has no condition and is immediately demandable. Again, pure and conditional obligation. Pure because has no condition and is immediately commendable. Or sorry, immediately demandable. No? Conditional. Bakit siya conditional? It depends on a future uncertain event. Pure siya kasi has no condition and immediately demandable siya. Okay? Ibig sabihin, sa quasi-delict, pag nag-cause ka ng negligence or fraud, no, automatic, you have the right to demand. No, has no condition, walang condition. Nagka-injury, ay, takbo mo agad sa ospital. Okay? And immediately demandable. Conditional because it case to case or it depends on a future uncertain event. Hindi mo naman kasi ma-foresee. Pwedeng nadulas, pwedeng nabagok, pwedeng nahulog, pwedeng nahulugan, pwedeng nabasagan, and so on and so forth. It depends on a future uncertain event. That is why pure and conditional obligation. Okay, another example. I will pay you, for example, 20,000, no? If you finish the tour package, this is conditional obligation. Diba? Sige, babayaran kita ng 1 million kung napalipad mo si mama. Grabe naman yun. Diba? So, that is conditional. Magkakaroon ka lang ng 1 million kung nangyari na yon. That is conditional. Okay. Obligation with period. No? Article 1193 to 1198. Ito namang obligation with period. Period. No? Fulfillment is set on a specific date or time. From the word period. Okay, anong period ka magbabayad? I will fulfill my obligation on July 20, 2029. Fulfillment is set on a specific date or time. 2029 at 3 p.m. No? So, for example, stated on the contract, you must pay the hotel bill on July 31 at 2 p.m. on that day. So, yun, no? Obligation with a period. We also have alternative and facultative obligation. Facultative obligation. Okay? So, ito naman sa Article 1199 to 1206. Pag sinabi nating alternative, no, several choices of performance and debtor may choose. Or, sorry, alternative. Several choices of performance. Like, for example, unfortunately, I was not able to pay you on that specific date na stated on the contract. So, what will happen, we will agree on an alternative way, no, na pwede kong bayaran. Like, for example, I will pay every day, I will pay in return, I will pay every day, I will pay every hour. Meron bang ganon? I don't think so, but it depends on the situation. We also have facultative. Facultative, no, only one main obligation, but the debtor can substitute it. So another example for facultative is I will give you a tour pass, or if I cannot, I will give you cash instead. Facultative. Okay? I will give you I will give you my car. Kung hindi ko maibigay sa'yo yung aking car, bibigay ko na lang sa'yo yung kalabaw ko. Ganon. Yung alternative naman, I will give you either the city tour or countryside tour. No? So, ibig sabihin, like for example, sige, pwede ko sa'yong ibigay yung laptop ko, pwede ko rin ibigay sa'yo yung TV namin. No? Either. Kahit saan sa kanila, pwede. But sa facultative kasi, is merong alternative, no? So, hindi ko, or kung, for example, sasabihin niya, sige, sa'yo na itong bahay namin. Pag hindi ko naibigay itong bahay namin, sa'yo na lang yung laman ng bank account ko. Something like that. That is facultative. We also have joint and solidary obligation under the Article 1207 and 1222. Pag sinabi nating joint, no, each debtor pays only their share. For example, meron akong utang. Dalawa kami, meron kaming utang, no, which is 1 million. So ako, babayaran ko lang kung magkano yung share ko doon at inutang ko. Ikaw, bayaran mo rin yung utang mo. But the whole amount is, let's say, 1 million. Solidary, no, one debtor may be required to pay the full amount and the claim from others. So for example, yung solidary, If 3 travel agents promise a 15,000 refund and it's solidary, the client can demand the full amount from any of or any one of them. So for example, travel agency 1, 2, and 3. Sabihin nila, sa tatlong yon nakausap mo, sabi nila, I will promise to pay you 15,000 for a refund. Okay? Ako, si Nalin, pwede kong singilin si Travel Agency 1 ng 15,000. Pwede rin si Travel Agency 2. Pwede rin si Travel Agency 3. Okay? Wala akong pakialam kung naghati-hati sila or kanino manggagaling yung 15,000. Pwedeng si Travel Agency 1 lang ang singilin ko sa 15,000. I don't care kung paano nila yon, kung sino ang gumastos, sino nakawala, or saan napunta yung 15,000. But sa Solidary, pwedeng isa lang ang sisingilin ko ng 15,000. Bahala na siya kung paano niya hahanapin o paano niya sisingilin yung ibang tao. Okay? That is Solidary. Okay. We also have here visible and invincible or indivisible obligation under Article 1223 and 1225. When we say divisible, can be partially performed. When we say indivisible, must be fulfilled as whole, buo. So, for example, supplying breakfast, yung meals natin daily, divisible. Okay? Providing a single one-day tour, indivisible. Anong pinagkaiba? Pag sinabing indivisible, must be fulfilled as a whole. Okay? Pag sinabi nating divisible, partially performed. Supplying breakfast, syempre, sa isang araw, divisible yon kasi isa lang. We have also lunch, dinner, snack. Diba? Pero, supplying breakfast is only one. So, 1 meal a day. So, that is example of divisible. Pag indivisible naman, providing a single one-day tour, you need to provide a single or one-day tour in a whole day. So, you need to provide or must be fulfilled that promise as a whole. Hindi pwedeng one-day tour na nga, hatiin mo pa. Diba? Ay, hindi, 3 hours lang. Paano naging one-day tour yon? That is example of indivisible. Okay? We also have obligation with penal cost. Article 1226 to 1230. Kasama dito yung penalty for non-performance. Obligation with penal clause. Nako, penal. Ano kaya ito? Ang example natin dito, if the guest cancels less than 24 hours before check-in, may penalty na 500 pesos. Obligation with a penal clause. Includes a penalty for non-performance. For example, sasabihin mo, magkikita tayo dito ha, so pag hindi ka dumating, bayad ka sa akin kasi inabala mo ako. Thing like that. Or for example, pag di mo na ibigay yan ha, ang gagawin mo, bayaran mo akong doble. Or bayaran mo na lang yung shipping niyan kasi hindi mo na ibigay. So, may penalty. Okay? So, yun yung classification of obligation. So, we also have here secondary classification of obligation. This classification describe the nature, sources, or enforceability of an obligation. So, ito yung mga breakdown niya. Meron tayong unilateral and bilateral obligation under Article 1169 to 1191. Pag sinabi nating unilateral obligation, only one party has duty or obligation. Like for example, a hotel promises to donate a free room to a local event. The event organizer has no obligation in return. The event organizer has no obligation in return because only one party has duty or obligation. Okay? So, si hotel lang ang nag-promise na mag-donate ng free na room sa local event. So, si event organizer, wala siyang obligation in return. Basta, magbibigay lang siya ng hotel room and then, wala na. Walang kapalit. Okay? Unilateral. When we say bilateral obligation, ibig sabihin, two, bicycle, diba? Dalawang gulong, both parties are bound to perform obligation to each other. For example, yung tourist nag-book sa resort ng isang package, no? Of course, the tourist must pay, the resort must provide accommodation and of course services. So, this is the most common type of businesses, especially sa contracts, 'di ba? Mayroong mutual agreement. We also have real and personal obligation. So, ito naman, Article 1163 to 1168. May real obligation, no? An obligation to give something, a specific thing or object. For example, a company promises to give a souvenir item after every tour. Okay? So, personal obligation and obligation to do or not to do something. Okay? So, pag sinabi nating real, of course, you need to provide something real. Pag personal obligation naman, you have the obligation to do or not to do something. So, example, sa to do, no? Yung tour guide must conduct a scheduled walking tour. Yung not to do naman, ang hotel agrees not to share guest information, that is confidentiality clause. Right? Yung tinatawag na confidentiality clause. You are not allowed to disclose any information about the employees aside from that guest information na nandoon sa inyo. Okay? So, we also have civil and natural obligation. Ang daming obligation and this is under Article 1423. Okay? Pag sinabi nating civil obligation, enforceably by law and courts, if violated, the injured party can sue. Example, yung guest natin nag-sign ng booking contract. If the hotel cancels without cause, the guest can file a claim. Diba? Nagbayad ka tapos hindi ka naman pala makaka-avail. So, natural obligation based on morality or konsensya ng bawat isa or conscience, but not legally enforceable. No? However, once voluntarily fulfilled, the obligation cannot be revoked or revoked. For example, yung isang tao, nag-voluntary siyang bayaran yung kanyang utang that has already legally prescribed. No? Too late to or let's say yung tao na yon, no, magbabayad naman siya. Okay? And payment was not legally required but once given, it cannot be taken back. Hindi man siya pino-force to pay, pero gusto niyang magbayad and then binayaran nga niya yung tao na yon. So, unfortunately, no, once given, it cannot taken back. We also have legal, conventional, and penal obligation under Article 1157, 1159, and 1161. Legal obligation. So, legal obligation arises from law. Example, employers must pay SSS and PhilHealth contribution required by law. Diba? That is legal obligation. When we say conventional obligation naman, ito yung nag-a-arise sa contracts or agreement between parties. So example, yung guest agrees to pay a hotel deposit, the hotel agrees to reserve the room. Oh, that is conventional. When we say penal obligation, ito naman contains a penalty clause in case of non-compliance. So, if you cancel less than 24 hours the trip, unfortunately, you need to pay 1,000 pesos penalty doon sa tour operator. So, penal obligation. Okay? Pag pinag-uusapan kasi natin yung penal from the word penalty. Penalty. Meron siyang penalty. Meron siyang penalty. Okay? So, I think for the coverage of our exam, dito na tayo mag-e-end sa quasi DELIC, and the secondary classification of obligation under the civil law. Okay? Students, very important in this subject for you na magbasa, manood ng video because unfortunately, hindi kayo masusurvive ng stuck knowledge. Okay? When we talk about legal aspects and obligation in contracts, if hindi kayo mag-aaral, hindi kayo papasa dito, unfortunately. Hindi ako mahihiya, but I admit that 2 beses kong kinuha itong subject na ito, obligation in contracts. Not because hindi ako nagbabasa or ayokong magbasa, but um, hindi ko nagustuhan yung uh, the way nila i-deliver ito sa akin before. So, of course, nasa Christian school kami. So, I believe that they need to provide an information that is in line with what we believe. Parang ganyan. So, yun yung hindi ko nagustuhan before. So, I decided to drop my this subject. But, of course, I will not encourage you to do that because you only have few semester before graduation, second year na kayo, I believe, no? So, please help me. Ni-record ko ito. Actually, hindi ko kinonsider talaga na magkaroon tayo ng online class because during that time, unfortunately, I do not have a way to record yung yung ating mga, for example, yung ating discussion. Because ang gusto ko is mabalikan nyo yung video. Okay? Ma-fast forward, ah, balikan, no, yung mga information na sinasabi ko. And when it comes to obligation in contract and legal aspects, very important to read and to study yung mga articles, and aside from that, all information about our discussion. Okay? Hindi talaga lulusot yung stock knowledge and yung mga ginagawa nyo sa ibang subject ninyo. So, of course, this is one of the major subjects of hospitality and tourism. Very important to watch this video. Okay, so from there, if you have any question or any inquiries or concern, please do not forget to leave a message or comment down below. Okay, so thank you so much and have a nice day, everyone.